Stephen Day or Boxing Day in the UK and Canada. Maybe Australia too. I don't know. I am daring to go out. Actually, I have to go out because we forgot some things yesterday at somebody's house, and I'm going to pick up Ken so he could have a little bit of together time with people during this season. He had to work yesterday. He always has to work on Christmas. He volunteers to do it, actually, because Christmas is a lonely time for an old man who doesn't have any family close by. It's a lonely time for a lot of people. And then I endeavor to return those cards, computer data cards. Back to Wife's Enemy. You see, I'm giving up on giving it a number. It's just Wife's Enemy. I think all the other Wife's Enemies have gone out of business. But I put them in. I put one in the Video Assist, my recording monitor that I use to record my output from my switcher when I do live streaming, so I could go back in and put a high quality video on the internet. And it read it for about a second, then said there's no card. So apparently the data rate is too low, so I'm gonna try to trade 2 cards for one, since the ones that have the higher data rate, 300 megabits per second, they are very costly. So I'm going to get one of those because I just need another one, because a 64 gigabyte card at the resolution and the codec that I have selected, which is the lowest one, and it's still really damn good looking, is about 75 minutes. And I know I have another card floating around somewhere, but I need another, just so that I don't have to worry about running out of time when I'm recording. So, there it is. That's why I'm going out on this day, not to go out.
In a quarter of a mile, left turn at the end of the road onto Northeast 38th Street. Left turn at the end of the road and then right turn at the end of the road. In a quarter of a mile, right turn at the end of the road onto North Brighton Avenue. Right turn at the end of the road. Right turn ahead. Proceed about 2 miles to I-435 South. In half of a mile, right turn onto I-435 South. Next right onto I-435 South. Proceed on I-435 South. Slow traffic. In 1/10 of a mile, right turn. turn at the end of the road. Mile right road. Next right. Next left, and then left turn at the end of the road. Next left, and then left turn. Next South Sterling Avenue. The route. Slow traffic. In a quarter of a mile, right turn onto South Sterling Avenue. half of Avenue. In a quarter of a mile, right turn. South.
Guard the car, dongies. Dongy. Dongy. Jesus, this is heavy. What the hell is in here? Ow. Still moving stuff around. Dongy. Make it? Oh. So, Zach, of course, left a book at Debbie's last night, and we forgot to give her the card. And we picked up a bunch of presents from Megan and the kids' grandparents at Debbie's, where we had arranged to have Matthew drop them. And one of the presents turned out to be to Oliver.
Do what?
One of the presents turned out to be to Oliver,
Oh.
which is their cousin, who's in the Dominican Republic with his parents. He's getting baptized. So I gotta go by there first, and we been having a lot of issues in that,
Next right, and then right turn at the end of the road.
you know, naturally the grandparents and we are just not at that point yet. But we are at that point with my sister, but then they're going to say, well, we thought you did.
Half of a mile to
Plus, when we went there yesterday, we wore masks. I've had 2 COVID tests in the month of December.
Negative, all of them. Couple people at work have
Quarter of a mile, sharp right.
That's been really close to you.
what?
Has it been anybody that's been really close to you that you've been hanging around with or anything, or is it just like people around the workplace?
They work.
Huh?
They work 6 feet away. But, I don't know if that's serious or not. And I'm not going to get the test if I can help it. Till they come up with a decent treatment, what's the object?
Next sharp right.
Yeah. They've got the what do you call it?
Next left, and then left
Vaccination coming.
If you,
But that's no definite answer, and it's going to take a while.
turn. Next left.
If they test
and
you
then
and you've
left
got it,
turn.
then they send you home and you can't do anything for 2 weeks.
Proceed about 7/10 of a
Except
mile
hope that
to
you,
South Noland
Which
Road.
means you don't get a paycheck for 2 weeks.
7/10 of a mile
Hopes you aren't going to
ahead
die from it.
on the route.
Yeah, the federal
Slow
response
traffic.
and our emergency response to it had been lackluster and been used as an excuse to feed up the chain, this whole we're not going to do anything for anyone, we're just going to make them do the impossible. You tested for it. It's not even if you test positive, it's if you test. Well, if you've taken the test, you go to quarantine until your results come back. 3 days. So you quarantine, and then like you say, most people,
In a quarter of a
their
mile,
jobs won't
right
pay 'em
turn
anything,
At the
and-
end of the road onto West Truman Road.
I don't know if I've ever gone up this street. A lot of hysterical markers here. Hospitals stay at home.
Right turn.
And then you either get sick and die, or you get sick and go to the hospital, or you stay home and get better. But either way, anyone get a paycheck. Chances are, when you come back to your job, they're like, "Oh, you don't work here anymore.
Next left, and
We
then
needed somebody to
right
fill
turn.
in," and then they're saying everybody's broke, the economy's broke, it's destroyed. Well, this is why we have a federal government. This is why we pay our taxes. This is why we pay such high taxes. So the federal government can respond
Next left,
properly to
and
things
then
like this.
right
This
turn.
is the exact reason we have that overlying structure. And when that overlying structure goes, we can't do anything, like, oh, bull crap. You certainly do things when your rich patrons are threatened. I mean,
Next left, and then right turn.
look at how strong their response was to Black Lives Matter and things like that. They really knew how to respond to that.
Yeah.
And the answer is pretty simple.
In 2/10
experts
of a mile,
knew it. We've
left
done it
turn onto
1,000 times.
East Walnut Street.
quarantine people who are affected. You tell them, don't worry about anything. Hospitalization will be taken care of under emergency funds. Your paycheck will be taken care of, so you won't miss anything. Your job will still be there when you get back, get done.
Provided you stay home and do what
Provided you stay home and do what you're supposed to do. Give us a list of all the people you may have affected and
Next
infected.
left, and then right turn.
And you would have quarantined it down to a small area. You wouldn't have destroyed our economy. I mean, the economy was destroyed on purpose. It wasn't destroyed by a virus. It was destroyed by our lackluster government. But you know, that takes a good leader at the top. And unfortunately, we had a lousy leader at the top. And the United States is the worst country in the world when it comes to the reaction to this virus. Bar none. We are the very bottom of the class. There are
Proceed about
quote
0.1
unquote,
mile
and
to
I'm not saying this
North
myself,
Williamsburg.
I am quoting this, shithole countries, in quotes, that have done so much better than us. Because some of those countries, like in Africa, have dealt with Ebola and have learned the hard way how to deal with it, and have dealt with it so much better with not the infrastructure, not the strong government, not the strong leadership that we have, just out of the fact that they've learned how to deal with it. And if we weren't so busy looking down our noses at people in other parts of the world, we could learn a thing or two from them. The Philippines has done so much better than us.
But we have this silly thing, you can't go to the doctor unless you have insurance.
Yeah, and you can't, it's not only that, half time you can't go to the doctor without a referral from another doctor.
Yeah.
You're like, well, I'm sick. Well, then where's your referral? Two things. Question. And how are you feeling? First things they ask. You could be coming in and they won't ask you about that. Insurance provider, and where's your referral?
Mm-hmm.
Who's your family doctor?
But I can't imagine a country supposedly as advanced as us that you can't go to the doctor when you're sick.
Mm-hmm.
You gotta have insurance before you can go to the doctor.
Europeans are laughing at us. All the Asian countries are laughing at us. We are essentially giving everything over to China. Now people are looking at China for leadership. They're not looking at the United States anymore.
No.
Because the Chinese are going in. We'll build bridges in your country and we'll build hospitals. That was something Americans used to do. But we don't do that anymore because, you know, Americans are so busy saying, well, we need to take care of our own people.
Proceed about
Like,
3
well,
miles.
you
to
ever think about it,
East
you are
US
taking
Highway
care of your own
40.
people.
Let's make America great again.
I mean, you can't. The answer to everything is not, we have a mighty military machine.
Always have
Because
one.
throughout the history, countries that have relied solely on mighty military machines have ended up being books. So your car's not running?
out the other day, and you can't buy tires on Christmas Day or Christmas Eve.
No.
Hit a chuck hole in the road and
No.
ruined the tire.
Right.
Found out I'm too damn old to change a tire anymore. Pulled into a parking lot, jacked it up, and went to take the wheel, the nuts loose on the wheel. I wasn't strong enough. So I ended up stuck there. Calling them in to change my tire for me.
Well, were you at the church?
Uh,
Were you at the church?
yeah, that's was right near there where it blew out. And so I just swung into the church parking lot there. And sat there for. They come along and asked me if I needed some help. And I said, yes. So,
Did you catch a cold from the cold there?
no,
Did you catch a cold from the cold there?
no. Bernie runs a thermostat. 56 degrees is what she keeps it at.
But is she one of the people that has COVID
Yeah.
and she's still at work?
She keeps it that temperature year round.
No, I mean, does she have COVID?
Yeah.
And she's
No.
Oh,
One of the other women, or two of the other, one woman, one guy have it. And so she went come back yesterday and said she didn't have it. So.
did they quarantine her for a couple of days?
No, she just.
Why is your workplace permitting that?
In half of a mile, left turn onto
Metro
East
Hardwoods
US
is
Highway 40.
where Pier 1 used to be. It's called Metro Hardwoods. That's where Pier 1 used to be. I guess Pier 1 is finally shutting down all over the country. Or it is shut down. I don't know.
Yeah.
Next left, and then left turn.
It seems like companies go bankrupt, but that's not the end of them. You know, they have no stores, they have no nothing, but they're still around.
Yeah.
I mean, I thought Sears was totally gone, but no, they're not. They're still around.
Ruby Tuesday over here in the corner is got a sign out there. you can buy the place. I don't know if that means they're out of business or what.
Everything in this corner is gone.
Huh?
Everything on this corner is gone.
No.
From here. The only thing that's really left is, that place
In
is shut.
half of a mile, left
You're not
turn
buying a Ruby
onto
Tuesday
South
franchise.
Fremont Road.
I'm even amazed that HIV is still here. There used to be a surplus place right there. Like Cargo Lardass. I think it was the same owner.
Could be.
And it was a Babies R Us before that. Lord knows what else. I think they even tried their.
Next left, and then
Having a what?
right turn.
You know, the area is depressed when churches can't even survive on that corner.
Next right, and then left.
This. What am I forgetting? This kid is so distracted by everything. I don't know if he's worse than I was or what. his age. So, but now I'm dealing with the other end of it. I'm still distractible, you know.
It's that Christmas tree with the balls on there. When we were in high school, they put a Christmas tree up in the middle of Main Street in Kelvin there. And we'd sit down there a block or so away and shoot at it with see if you'd hit any of the balls from the
You have arrived
block
at your
away.
destination. The route guidance will start.
Yeah, they made these.
Right turn.
Only they forgot to make the phone holders grow with them.
Yeah.
So you buy a phone holder and it'll say something like, it'll hold the big phone, and then you're like, it barely, you can squeeze your big phone if you scrape and scratch the sides because it's so tight. But you put a case on your phone, which everybody does to protect your phone, and now none of the holders will hold it.
Next right.
Or they make a shirt pocket that you put your phone in. And the pocket is so big, you bend over and the dang phone falls on the floor.
Yeah.
And or otherwise, the thing is so small you can't get the darn phone in there. If you get a pen in there besides, you're in luck.
Proceed about 0.8 of a mile to South Noland Road. In half of a mile, right turn onto South Noland Road.
Well, if I wasn't getting kicked out of my house, I would go buy a different car. I have no idea how much my expenses. So you don't want to borrow a few $1,000s to buy a car and then find out you can't finance that much.
So the new landlord has decided to increase
Next
the rent,
right.
what, 3 times?
What?
How much is your rent now? Is like $350,
$370.
$370. So the new landlord has decided to triple that.
Yeah, within a year he's going to have it up to $1,000.
Proceed about 2 miles to I-70 West.
Paying that for 25 years, and everything works out fine. I get a little, pay all my bills, got a little money left over, but when you got
decided not to have the house.
You're what?
If we just decided not to have that house, we could live really cheap if we wanted to. Just like we were before, you know, when we lived in the trailer. Trailer was paid off. We pay $100 and at first it was like $90 a month. The way to do it. Go find a repo trailer, borrow whatever money, because the one that we had, I'm trying to think, what was it? I think they wanted $4,000 for it.
11 miles ahead.
We asked
on the
if we could
route.
pay $3,000
Slow
for it, and they
traffic.
said, what about $3,500, and sold. We had that paid off like.
Right left turn onto
But what-
I-70 West.
You know, our neighbors never really bothered us. A lot of meth in that trailer park, of course, naturally, and there were a lot of really hillbilly, uneducated people around, but nobody ever messed with us. We didn't have much of a relationship. Next door neighbor happened to be the crazy woman who let it go. $1,000 for it, like close to $50,000. But you know,
Next slight left onto I-70
the finance
West.
company, they see a little fence in for you. Can we put this in for you? That. So she went ahead and signed her name to everything, and it ended up
Proceed about 2
costing
miles to
$50,000
Blue
when she
Ridge
added all the
Cutoff.
favors, you know.
Slow traffic.
And then quickly she couldn't afford it. I think she worked as a security guard. And I'm sure they were financing her at a very high rate, so she was paying as much a month as if she would have bought a house, you know, probably up to $1,000 a month. And quickly defaulted. You know, and as these trailers do, things break, fall apart, especially when you have people in there who put a washer and dryer in there and let the washer overflow onto the floor constantly and puts a big hole in the floor, you know, and things like that. And these women, she lived with her 3 daughters, and all of them were pigs. Starting with her. I mean, clothes and animal feces all over the house. It really needed a cleaning. When we went in there, we had to haul out all this garbage that she left behind, clothes and stuff. Some of the things they left behind were nice, and we kept them. But there she was, our next door neighbor. She moved into the rat hole trailer next door. Couldn't afford that, so she eventually moved out. And then our new neighbors moved in. Moved out, and they set to work fixing the thing up, you know, sawing and hammering, and they got it fixed up the way they wanted it, but it still looked
10
like
miles
trash, you know.
ahead
It was a
on the
pretty
route.
trashy trailer.
Slow traffic.
But I'm sure they were smart, and they had everything paid off, and they had really no bills, just like us, other than that place burned down. Other than
In half of a mile, left turn onto Blue
the lot
Ridge
rent every
Cutoff.
month. And the husband, he managed the restaurant there in Bates City, and that restaurant happened to be the kind of the a lot of people would do is they would have an open line of, they would sign over part of their pay to have food delivered to them every day. And of course, some of these people were like 500 pounds of bad skin because they never moved out of their couches in front of their TV sets. and had their food delivered to them every day, which is an expensive way of doing it. But
Yeah.
a lot of them couldn't drive or wouldn't drive, and they needed, if that restaurant shut down, it was a restaurant, bar, and pizza place. So it was like the heart of Bate City. It's the entertainment district. And if that thing ever shut down, there would be some people that would really be hurting. I don't know how they would survive.
I'm wondering.
And he was the manager of that place, and actually their food was pretty decent. It was okay.
Proceed
It
about
was a
2 miles to I.
pizza joint as well as a restaurant. They served sandwiches and stuff.
There's onto the and there's people that go down there every day and eat. Costs them $3 to get a pretty good meal,
Yeah.
and it hasn't been serving meals since March,
Oh man.
and those people haven't got any,
Well,
no car, no nothing, no transportation.
a lot of people who do that too are also trying to go in there. Like whenever we would cover the Salvation Army on Christmas morning, serving meals, or Thanksgiving, serving meals and stuff like that. Probably more than half the people in there are not necessarily people who need a free meal. What they need is the company. They need to be around people.
Yeah.
And that's why they go there, because they can sit next to their fellow human beings and have conversations and be treated respectfully. And
Yeah, I go down senior center there probably a couple times a week.
yeah.
Pay my $3 and but
I mean, I think that's what the
when they shut
Don
that,
Bosco Center is pretty much about. It's got an activity center and
yeah, got everything you need.
it's mainly designed for elderly people.
Those that live in the thing next door, the old folks home there, they just certain time of day they go get in the elevator and go down and
Yep.
sit there and wait till they start serving the meal.
In half of a mile, keep right onto I-70 West.
Well, my live streams went really well.
Oh. Okay.
The church is very happy with it. I don't think they had the overflow they were thinking they were going to have, but they were prepared for it nonetheless, And they seem to be very happy with it.
Keep right onto I-70 West.
It's hard when you do that kind of thing to not ruffle feathers.
Proceed about 4 miles.
Almost no matter how you slice it, the video equipment is just
0.6 of a mile.
big and cumbersome and in the
On
way.
route.
A bit too much. In some cases, I was like, oh, I didn't bring this, I didn't bring that, I needed this, I needed that. But I had it pared down with the latest configuration, about as small as you can get. The ways of doing it, but it's not as reliable. I can go in there, and it's small and out of the way, nobody even.
Next.
Not as good, so I get beautiful recordings. The only other issue is that when it's big and bulky like that, you're not as flexible. You can't move around as much. I mean, I've worked out a way where you could walk up with a camera, but it's just too much to deal with. But there's a thing on my list called a YOLO box. YOLO. And it's a little tablet looking thing. It's about this big. And you can hook it onto your camera. Plug your camera into it. It becomes input, one of the inputs, and you can plug another camera into it, and you have two inputs, and you can plug another device through the USB, and you have like three inputs. And you can walk around with it and stuff. And a monitor, a switcher, a recorder, and an encoder, so you can live stream with it. If you have Wi-Fi, access to Wi-Fi, which I got worked out in the church. So it's just something that it's about as small and portable as you can get. And it's not very expensive, so I'm going to save up for the other. And then if they ask me, well, what should the church get? We got some money from a donor or something they like the live streams. I say, get the fully tested out, and I'm going to watch thing I can find on it to see what people say about it. The problem with a lot of that stuff, do this, there's so many people out there and they feel that they got to give glowing reviews and sell it, about what the issues are, what problem. Is that something I can deal with, or is it going to be the device? And every day they keep coming. Technology and stuff, it's getting crazy to where you can carry something in the palm of your hand that 5-10 years ago you wouldn't even have imagined.
Yeah, it's aggravating. Like, I've got my stereo.
Yeah.
Played perfectly good music. Same music you can get on the
Proceed about 1 mile.
Well, you don't need most of that stuff, the electronic goodies. And a lot of the electronic goodies just do, that there's so many things that you buy out there. It's like the latest, greatest technology, and then you get into it and you're like, well, this isn't so great, and it's kind of overkill, and I'm never going to use that in a million years. It's like the basic frame. Keep it, toll it.
You gotta have the newest and the latest, so you get the new thing and then find out.
I've learned the hard way the newest and latest isn't so great. Like, for instance, you see the phone with the line. I hooked this phone up to my car, and the phone. And maybe this is my own limitation, is that when I go through the car, when it gets close to the car, and I could be like to that phone, hello, 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 and it's like the car. And I've struggled with that so much that expensive thing I'm not going to use. There's a radio station I like to listen to out of Minneapolis, and they work. And except that there are so many times when I went to answer the phone, I'm sitting there going, hello, hello, hello. And I was like, oh, the car has a mind of its own, you know.
Damn cell phone of mine wants to.
Yeah, mine does too. They've always done that. Like
Right.
the settings will
US
switch to something,
71 north.
and it's like in the factory there's a preferred setting that they want you to go to, but you don't like it, so you change it, and then
Right turn ahead.
something happens, a
and
little
then
update,
sharp right
automatic
turn.
update that you weren't aware of, and it goes back to the factory settings, and you're like, what, you know, what? And it's just really frustrating. It's like the phone is smarter than you are. It knows what you want, so don't even do what you want. Do what it wants.
Like I got probably 25, 30 friends on my list of people to call.
Not to mention all the apps and stuff that update constantly.
Yeah.
And well, we did this to fix a bug. We did this to
Proceed
fix
about
this or
1
that or the
mile
other. Or we
to
get
Broadway
better
Street.
connectivity with this device that
4
you've never heard
miles.
of. You read
Same
why the little message it sends when it tells you it updated automatically with, you know, in the middle of the night while you were sleeping or whatever. Got rid of a feature that you love, that you were using all the time, and you can't, or buried it somewhere else, you can't find it. So Sienna's having a hard time with that one, Facebook.
I have
And then these things, because they're looking for they want you to lock you out of certain features or lock you into certain features. They want you to, in the case of the phones that update themselves automatically with the newest, greatest software, I think half the time software on your phone.
What I don't like is when you run down your list of friends because you want to call one, you push a button.
Yeah.
Call somebody 3 low. And why did I call you? I had no reason to talk to you.
One of the fathers I'm dealing with, he butt dials all the time, and you know, the other, somebody on his pocket was calling out to me, hello.
Yes.
And I'm like, on your phone. He's like, huh? What? And he picks it up and he's like, and he cusses too. He hangs up and goes, shit.
If you don't want to talk to that person, it is nothing but aggravating.
Somebody that when you get them on the phone, you can't get them off.
In half of a mile, right
I
turn
like the
onto
one just-
Broadway Street.
If I come home from work at 1 o'clock and if I got any messages from the list,
Oh, that's infuriating to me too. I don't get messages until somehow they get buried. And I don't get them until it's too late. Then there's like no messages for me. Unless I go into a deep dig and each name and then I'll see like days later there was a message for me. Why did I miss that? I've been checking my phone. Why is it just now showing up? And I'll listen to it. I really need you to blah 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 blah, and it's like something really really important, and they left one message and couldn't get a hold of me, and so
sometimes.
damn TikTok every 5 seconds. Moises Molina has a new TikTok video up. I'm like, I don't care. I don't watch his videos anymore. I'm sorry. because every 5 seconds he's putting a new video up and it's notifying
Proceed
me
about 2 miles to Truman Road North.
like I'm live streaming my
Slow
thing and the
And
how did I enable the push notifications on TikTok? I don't even.
a lot of that crap that comes on there, you don't want to watch in the first place, but here it is.
An opt out that they bury, you know? Otherwise, you're going to get what they call push notifications. You want this, you have to actively say, no, I do not want these push notifications. And then it's like, are you sure? Are you really sure? Are you really? Well, we're going to give it to you anyway, unless you go 10 more steps to say no. Their content in your throat, and I'm going to delete TikTok. If it's not obvious, you know, everything should be opt-in. If you go here and click yes, we won't give it to you. We'll give it to you unless you go through low loading acknowledgments to let us know that you don't want it. And you know, they bury. That feature was, and then when they, then all of a sudden it disappears. You're like, where did? There's like all these arcane rules basically designed to benefit the advertisers of the app,
Yeah.
which is another great thing. Apps have advertisers.
That's like
You can get rich making apps.
I watch some of these. There's one called Dry Bar, which is comedy,
Yeah.
and you sit there and think, oh, that's pretty good. 3 or
In
4
half of a
minutes,
mile,
and then
left turn onto
we gotta have it, and it goes on. By the time you get around, anyways, comes back and you can watch for.
Bother me so much because it's just like TV, you know. It makes. Otherwise, you get to pay for the content. Who wants to pay $1 million to get? If that's the case, I won't. I don't mind the commercials. What's starting to bother me about the commercials? The actual show is about 10 minutes. You know.
Yeah.
Wow, how long are these commercials? About 4 minutes of commercial. How long are these commercials? And then it'll go for about 30 seconds, and then they'll say, and we'll be right back after these commercials.
next turn
And you're like,
and then
okay. I better turn this off. They're starting that on YouTube now, where the commercials are getting crazy.
So the more of that crap they put on there, the less of it I watch.
Yeah. So a good example of you're going the wrong. Oh no, he is going the right way now. He was going the wrong way before. A good example of a feature that has disappeared on me is live streaming directly from your phone. And I don't know why that has on YouTube. There's a little camera icon. You press on that. It says either upload a video or live stream. It's disappeared on me. And what I hate about it is I think that it enables you to get into some monetization settings, and trying to build this live stream for the church and
Slow
everything.
traffic.
And there's a thing called on YouTube called Super Chat. Like you have your chat as you're live streaming a video. People can send messages. Hey, I like this video. You know, like I'm live streaming Kansas City now, and people can send me a message, say, hey, what is that? And you can respond by talking in your mic or whatever. And if people really like your content, they can send you money. And of course YouTube takes 30% of it, but they'll send you $1 or so. Sometimes people send $10. I've seen people send 50 or 100 through Super Chat. Essentially, through the chat thing, if you have your page monetized, then they can send you money. They can say, here's $10. It dips into their account, sends you $10, and all you're doing is walking around and live streaming.
Onto Main Street.
There are people that are making a living doing it now, you know,
Yeah.
and all they're doing is walking around. So I'm trying to get that enabled for the church, because that would be a great way to, when you're live streaming the church service, that would be a great way for people to add to the collection. Bing, 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 bing. Oh, you've made 50. And when we started the live stream in the first place was because the churches were locked down. And also I'm like, well, channel going reliably every week. There are people who can't make it to church. They're either sick, or because of the beer flu, they can't come into the church because they're high risk factor. And so they can stay at home and watch it on YouTube. And
Left turn ahead, and then left turn.
it'd be nice if over the Super Chat they can send $20 or whatever, you know. They just have to know that 30% of it goes to YouTube. Maybe there should be a
Next
non-profit
left, and
Super
then
Chat,
Right
you know.
turn.
Yeah. It's like these things where somebody got murdered or something.
And they have
Send
a
in money
fundraiser.
for a funeral.
Kickstarter, yeah. And they have a fundraiser for that. But those fundraisers, I think it's 30% that they take out of those fundraisers too. That's how
Next left, and
they're
then
able to
right turn.
facilitate that. Maybe it's 10, maybe it's 20. I think it's 30. I think 30% is what's allowed by law. You know, just like a lawyer, certain types of lawsuits, they take 30%.
Yeah.
Next right, and then right turn. Next right, and then right turn. Right turn ahead, and then left turn at the end of the road.
You're tearing this down. This used to be a bike shop.
Next left. The
Completely
end of the
demolishing
road.
it. That was there for
Next
years, and I
right,
think
and
somebody
then
lived in there. It was
right
like a
turn.
loft apartment and shop downstairs.
Next
It's like so many
and
things.
then
You don't know.
right turn.
I think what happens a lot in places like that is somebody who bought the building and
Gonna
Proceed
make a
about
million.
1 mile
No,
to
they-
Burlington
they,
Street. 11 miles ahead.
they either die or get ill health and have to move out. Nobody wants it, or somebody buys it up quickly for a song. You know, big company. What do we have here? Another suicide attempt. Looks like animal control. That's weird.
In half of a mile, make a legal U-turn.
I wonder if Victoria still works for them after they went to the being taken over by Casey Pet Project.
Make a legal U-turn ahead.
This stupid GPS gets stuck in. If it wants you to go a certain way, it's going to keep trying to
Proceed about 2 miles to US
reroute you back to that way,
169
even if it's a
north.
long way.
7 miles ahead on the route. Slow traffic.
It's already needs to be updated. I don't know how to go about updating it. There's a slot here. You stick a card in. There may be a card in there. And I bet you if I go to Toyota and say, hey, how do I get this map updated? They'll go, oh, it costs you $500 because the ones that are built into cars, I think, are very expensive. Overpriced. You know, car dealer prices.
Yeah. And they got crap on there that you probably don't want in a million years, but
Yeah, there's stuff I haven't even figured, and there's some things I want. I'm not even sure that it exists in this car. Like one feature that I love, it's in Suyen's car. A lot of the new cars have it. Is it has the digital speedometer in the middle. Matter of fact, Suyen can't even read the speedometer anymore. She relies on that thing. And like when you hit your cruise control, and you step up, you know, like the set button, you just step it up, you can actually dial in the speed you want it to go at. Ding 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 65, and it'll go there and pretty reliably stay at 65. Then when you come into town, you slow down, you just go ding 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 to the speed you want to go. The 2013 Chevy Equinox that I drove for Channel 4 had that. That was when I first saw it. I was like, this is really nice. I love this. But this one, which is pretty much fully loaded, doesn't seem to have that.
or you get something on there. And it's, why don't they have that? You drive the damn car for a couple of years,
And then
it's
you
like,
discover it was there somewhere buried.
yeah,
That's what I'm wondering. I have looked through the menu system. I've done everything. I've even tried opening the book, the manuals on it. Look for it. Can't find it. It's nowhere obvious. ask somebody, or when this car is on its last legs, all of it's broken anyway, somebody say, oh yeah,
In
it's
half
been
of a
there.
mile, keep right onto US 169 North.
But Toyota's a little... They do things their way. They're the number one car company in the world. And so if
Keep
they
right onto US
think something
169
belongs there,
North.
then they're going to put it there, whether you want it or not. And if they don't think something belongs there, you're not getting it.
In 1 mile, US
People are
169 North. is on the
Amazed
right.
at how strict this feature, but I can't find it on the Toyota. Well, that's because Mother Toyota has decided you don't need it. You would think that Mitsubishi would be one of the number one companies in the world, but as far as cars go, they're pretty down there. But since Mitsubishi is part of like a big conglomeration that makes everything, kind of like Hyundai. Hyundai is one of the largest companies in the world, and they make more than cars.
US 169 North is on the right.
I think just about every ship you see sailing on the ocean is a Hyundai. All those big container ships are built by Hyundai. I think Toyota is the number one car company in the world.
Trump was going to
Proceed
bring
about
all
3
those
miles
back.
on
What's that?
US
Trump was gonna bring all those
169 North.
Manufacturing jobs back to America again. Haven't seen too many of them come back, but that was the idea.
Oh, have you heard the latest?
Probably not.
You know that stimulus they're trying to put out there? He
Yes.
vetoed it.
Huh?
He vetoed it.
In 2 miles, the exit on the right.
It's a trick. He's doing a propaganda game. He's saying, well, I think everybody should get $2,000 for a stimulus and this and that. And he's like, the Democrats have held it up. I was like, no, the Democrats have been all in favor. As a matter of fact, Nancy Pelosi said, oh, he said that? Then yeah, by all means, let's get it. We've been fighting the Republicans tooth and nail just to get a $600 stimulus.
Mm-hmm.
It's the Republicans in the Senate that have been holding it up. So, veto it unless they give him what he wants. This is just a game. This is just propaganda. Which I think is going to backfire on him.
No.
Because he's trying to make it sound like the Democrats are the ones holding it up so they can get their little, said they're liberal pet projects.
Heard one yesterday, I guess, or the day before, talking to my daughter, and she said the stimulus, the new one coming through, and it's all been okay and everything, but Trump says he's going to veto it.
Yeah.
Exit on the right, and then
They were going to
left
extend
turn.
people's unemployment benefits, which run out today. And those unemployment benefits were going to be just a mere $300 a week, which for a lot of people, but it's better than nothing. It'll keep people alive. And, you know, for people who've been thrown out of work due to COVID, $300 a week. And, you know, the $600 is nothing. A one-time payment of $600
In 1/10
is really
of a mile,
nothing.
Left turn onto
$2,000
Northwest
is really
68th
nothing,
Street.
you know?
But
For some people, that's Christmas money.
she said, you know,
It's the unemployment benefits that is holding up that is really going to hurt.
And this is Georgia. All the people that are black down there getting unemployment benefits, if they're going to cut those out, it's not going to look well for the
Right turn ahead.
election
and
coming
then
up.